Good evening, Garage Gang. It's Tuesday night in the garage. Your boy, Avatar John, has the wheel. And tonight is pure alpha. Bitcoin holding at 114,000, while Telegram's founder calls for $1 million BTC. Stripe pushing for a federal charter to mint stablecoins. Fresh ETFs listed on Sui and Polkadot. AI is ripping. OpenAI launches Sora 2. Anthropic drops Claude 4.5. Apple building Veritas, and Nvidia flexing at $4.5 trillion. And Washington? Midnight shutdown showdown. But we know why you're here. You want the gains. You want the dirty alpha. And that means it's time for Christian, Triple X, back in the pit with tonight's dirty trench picks. Smash that like, hit that follow, because it's about to get real. Pavel Durov, Telegram's founder, went on Lex Fridman's podcast and said flat out, Bitcoin is going to 1 million. This isn't just words. Durov holds hundreds of millions in Bitcoin personally. He's under heat in France, but doubling down on conviction. While Durov talks price, Stripe is laying the rails. They've rolled out stablecoin accounts in over 100 countries, towered by USDC and their new USDB token. The bridge acquisition gave them the compliance backbone. They're even eyeing Visa-powered stablecoin cards. Regulation slows them down in the US. But make no mistake, Stripe is moving like a bank. 21 Shares has now listed Sui and Polkadot ETFs on the DTCC backend. That's Wall Street plumbing. They're not trading live yet. The SEC delayed the Sui ETF ruling to December 21st. But once greenlit, these tokens step into brokerage accounts. That's institutional capital on the runway. Bitcoin seizure. Authorities in the UK seized 61,000 Bitcoin, worth $6.7 billion, the largest crypto seizure in history. Jimin Qian, also known as Yadi Zhang, pled guilty in London to laundering the stash tied to a massive China scam. Those coins are frozen, off the table. Supply psychology changes when whales know billions in Bitcoin are locked in cold storage. AI isn't a headline anymore. It's the horsepower race. OpenAI launched Sora 2. TikTok meets generative AI. Vertical feed, culture manufactured on demand. We'll be testing it tomorrow, and the garage will get the breakdown. Anthropic dropped Claude 4.5. 30 hours of continuous runtime. Writing production-grade code. Managing databases. Executing missions. That's automation with teeth. Apple is building Veritas, an AI assistant inside iOS. Forget Siri. Veritas controls search, messaging, apps. And the kicker? It runs directly on device. 2 billion Apple devices already carry GPUs capable of AI inference. That's a global GPU swarm waiting to be lit. Apple already has Apple Wallet moving millions daily. All they need is to tie in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. Overnight, every iPhone becomes a node in the AI plus crypto economy. People are already sending Bitcoin over iMessage with Lightning wallets. The demand is proven. Apple hasn't plugged it in yet. Nvidia is the pit boss of this casino. Market cap at $4.5 trillion, bigger than most countries. They control over 90% of the AI accelerator market. H100 GPUs go for $30,000 to $40,000 apiece and still sell out instantly. Amazon, Google, and Microsoft fight just to lock down supply. Nvidia revenue jumped from $27 billion in 2022 to over $120 billion projected this year. They control compute the way OPEC controls oil. In this casino, the pit boss always wins. Hollywood gets sideswiped. Tilly Norwood, a synthetic actress made of pixels and code, signed by real agencies. She doesn't age, doesn't strike, doesn't ask for residuals. She works around the clock. That's not sci-fi. That's jobs lost and protests in the streets. And then China drops heavy. Tencent's Hunyuan mixture of experts monster. 389 billion parameters total. 52 billion firing per inference. And open sourced. The West locks models in vaults. China uploads theirs to GitHub. That's not catch-up. That's overtaking. But here's the choke point. Power. Stargate data centers in Texas, New Mexico, and Ohio are planning 7 to 10 gigawatts each, enough to power 7 million homes. China's stacking GPU bunkers. India is handing out GPU credits. This war isn't about prettier code. It's about who controls the grid. Turbines, substations, uranium rods, solar farms. Whoever owns horsepower owns the future. Crypto is the crossover. Render, Akash, Singularity, Fetch. Compute tokens are the gas cans. Stablecoins are the rails. Bitcoin remains the reserve. AI is the engine. Crypto is the fuel. The gaming pit had action too. Electronic Arts is going private in a $55 billion buyout backed by Saudi capital. That's a major consolidation move in traditional gaming. On Steam, a small platformer called Block Blasters was pulled after reports it stole $150,000 in crypto from players. Proof that scams hide even in games. At Tokyo Game Show, blockchain is still experimental, but developers are quietly plugging in wallets and NFTs under the hood. And on the blockchain charts, Axie Infinity still pushes daily active players. Pixels is experimenting with DeFi-style tokenomics. And new presales like Tapsy are drawing hype in the GameFi lane. Gaming continues to be the bridge between fun, tokens, and liquidity. But scams and weak tokenomics wipe out the careless. Now here is the part you've been waiting for. Christian's trench picks. And the kid was hot last night, calling Solana from 200 to 206. Not bad for a night's work. This is the trench. Old Town Vegas. Binion's Gambling Hall, 1951. The carpets are worn, the neon buzzes, and the drinks are poured heavy. You're at the $5 tables, and the locals are pushing stacks they can't afford. Step in here without the right tools, sniper bots like Axiom, Bullex, GMGN, and your chum. Rule number 1, don't marry a meme. It will wreck you. You'd have better luck marrying a stripper. In the trench, you date trades. You don't marry them. Dirty Picks PIMP. Peak Internet Male Performance Market Cap. About 5 million. Liquidity around 144,000. Daily volume near 5 million. Distribution is clean. Top 10 wallets under 18%. That's a trench setup you can work with. Momentum in, momentum out. Weed. Market cap, 12 million. Liquidity over 1.2 million. Daily volume, 3.5 million. But concentration risk is high. 75% in top wallets. That's danger. If you touch it, size small and get out quick. CNUT. Carson the Squirrel market cap, 1.5 million. Liquidity, just over 60,000. Volume, close to 1 million. Thin order books. Scalps only. Size tiny. And don't linger. Now we leave Binions and walk down Fremont to Circa. The lights are brighter here. Younger crowd. Sharper energy. Tables are cleaner. Dealers look like they actually want to be here. The drinks cost more, but the vibe is fresh. This is the zombie corner. Projects that already took their beating, dropped heavy from the highs, but they're still alive, still trading, still pulling a crowd. Not as edgy as the trench, but the action's real. Grokkopedia, down about 70% from all-time highs, but still trading over 2 million a day with liquidity around 75 grand. That's staying power. Annie Grok Companion. Liquidity over 500,000. Community of 20,000 holders. This one is about culture. If the crowd sticks, the token breathes. Burn on bags. Smaller cap, supply burn narrative. Not as strong, but somehow it keeps dragging itself forward. Sometimes, story alone is enough to keep the wheels spinning. At Circa, you play at a nicer table, less smoke in the air, but it's still a gamble. These are survivors, not dead yet, not blue chips either. You size smart, play the hand, and know when to walk. Now we step out of Circa and into the classroom. Lulu's on the pit radio with tonight's technicals. And remember, this isn't about gut calls or feelings. It's about the lines, the moving averages, and sticking to the plan. Bitcoin. On the short frames, Bitcoin traded between 113,800 and 114,600. If it breaks 114,600, the next target is 115,200. If it loses 113,800, it drifts back toward 113,200. Today's scalp was a long from just under 114,000, out near 114,400 when resistance hit. That's discipline. You don't hope. You take profits when the chart tells you. Ethereum has been grinding out higher lows, over 4,165, and it pushes toward 4,220. Drop under 4,110, and it slides back toward 4,050. The clean trade today was long at 4,120, peeling out around 4,145 when momentum ran hot. Always follow the moving averages, not your gut. Solana has been pressing resistance around 210. Break 210.5, and it can sprint to 212 or 213. Lose 208, and it falls back to 205. The sharp play was the bounce off 208, scaling out into 209.5. Quick in, quick out, trench style. Cardano has been chopping near 80 cents. Clear 81.5 cents, and it can stretch toward 83. Lose 79.5 cents, and it slides back to 78 cents. It tagged the 200-day and rolled over. No clean entry. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. Takeaway. Every chart told the same story. Break a level, and you ride the move. Lose a level, and you cut fast. Always peel profits at resistance. That's trench discipline. Tools and levels first, never your gut. Garage Gang. None of this is financial advice. The head of technical analysis in the garage is Lulu. And yes, she's a pig. She can smell a chart better than most traders I know. But at the end of the day, she's still a pig. And the trenches? That's where you will lose your money if you get reckless. The reason we compare it to Old Town Vegas is because that's what it is. Gambling in your living room. It's fun, it's wild, but it's gambling. Don't confuse it for anything else. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Washington. The US government has shut down. Essential services keep humming. Planes in the air, borders guarded, social security checks mailed. But hundreds of thousands of federal workers are furloughed or working without pay. That's real pressure on families and ripple effects into business. Here's the real cost. When the government closes, the Fed goes blind. CPI, jobs, trade data, all frozen. Powell and the crew are flying without instruments. No data means uncertainty, and markets hate uncertainty. Volatility bids up. Gold presses near records, and bonds get bought as safe havens. Historically, shutdowns don't crash markets. Stocks often chop sideways and recover. But this one is different. Liquidity is already tight. Inflation is sticky, and an election is looming. Every extra day of gridlock costs more. Confidence erodes. Contractors stall. Small businesses starve of support. States lose funding. Economists peg billions in GDP gone for every week it drags. For crypto, this is paradox. Uncertainty makes investors freeze. Fear and greed sits at 49. Dead neutral. But whales don't freeze. They circle. They know ETF flows, exchange reserves, and gold correlations matter more when Washington fumbles. The garage take? The shutdown is noise until it isn't. The first week is theater. Beyond that, the cracks spread. Confidence falls. Volatility spikes. And the Fed is forced to guess. That's when risk flips. So don't trip, gang. Manage your stack, respect the lines, and remember, this is Vegas in your living room. It's fun, it's wild, but it's gambling. Size smart, play disciplined, and let it